everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Booker long list review, and just spoiler alert, I finally found one that I absolutely love and one that I would read again in the future. So that is Nightcrawling by Layla Motley. So before I even go into what this book is about, this author was the Youth Poet Laureate, and she started writing this book when she was 16, and I think she signed the contract when she was 18, and it became a bestseller. This is her debut novel, and it is one of the best debut novels that I have read, and I am so incredibly impressed with what she has done, especially for someone at such a young age. I'm just so incredibly impressed with it. So in this book we follow Kiara and her brother Marcus, and they are scraping by in East Oakland in an apartment complex, and both of them have dropped out of high school. Their family is broken up. Her father is not around, and her mother has gone to prison. So Kiara and Marcus are basically just struggling to get by. Marcus is clinging to his dream of being a rap star, even though the text makes it apparent that he really doesn't have what it takes, but he's just really clinging to that. So in the meantime, Kiara finds out that their rent is going to double, and they cannot afford that. And she is doing everything she can to find a job, and all she's getting is rejections. And she has also been keeping an eye on the 9-year-old boy next door, Trevor. He's been abandoned by his mother, so she also wants to keep him safe and fed. So she's got a lot on her plate. And one night she goes to a bar visiting a friend, and she gets drunk. And what begins as this drunken misunderstanding turns into a transaction with not 100% full consent, and it opens the door for her to enter the world of nightcrawling or sex work, because she is at her lowest of lows, and she is doing what she needs to get by and keep her apartment and also keep this 9-year-old boy safe, because she feels like she can't count on her brother right now. This is based on a real incident. Apparently, I want to say it was 2015. In Oakland, California, a story broke where police officers were discovered to have been sexually exploiting a sex worker. And apparently this just really stuck with Layla Motley and inspired her to write this book. And so that's what we're looking at. Kiara gets into a bad situation and ends up getting sexually exploited by these police officers. This was a really emotional one for me. Number one, because the author does such a good job of really getting you to know these characters and really care about Kiara and really see that she's trying and empathizing with her and seeing that she's gonna do what she has to do to survive and take care of Trevor. Even if it's a job that makes her miserable and unhappy. We see a lot of horrible things, and even though not all of them are graphic or shown on the page, I feel like Layla Motley did such a good job of using minor details to really set a scene and just really convey the heaviness and the impact of what is going on in the book. So, for example, Kiara is basically blackmailed into going to this party with police officers not only from Oakland but from surrounding areas, and they're basically taking turns with her. But instead of showing that on page, we get details about how you hear belts being undone, or hear talking outside for someone ready to come in next, and things like that just really emphasize the gravity of what's going on without being play by play on the page, if that makes sense. And I just thought that was really well done, and I thought, especially for someone so young, I thought that was a great way to really portray what's going on. She also has some great friends, and I loved seeing her friendship with, I think her name's Ollie. I'm totally having a brain freeze. But she's kind of her safe place. And I love seeing that, even though she is also kind of struggling as well, they both rely on each other. And I loved seeing that friendship and how they had a little bit of a falling out. They were still there for each other when they needed it. The other really interesting thing, we get to see sections where Kiara is talking to her mom, and we learn more about her relationship with her mom and why her mom went to prison. And I don't want to spoil anything, but she does this thing where she'll have certain themes or objects, like let's say a pool, because a pool opens at the beginning. That's the opening scene. And she carries it throughout the book and kind of connects everything with these different items or places, which I thought was just really sophisticated, and I just loved the way she did it. There are some heart-wrenching scenes, and they're honestly throughout the book, so I won't say anything in particular, but I ugly sobbed in several places in this book. And I grew up around Little Rock, which I know it's not Oakland, California, but Little Rock also has a lot of very high poverty, very high need areas. And the school that I taught at was very, very low income, very high need students. And I was just thinking about some of them while I was reading this, and how, you know, this could happen to anyone. Not necessarily them, but, you know, when you're at a point where your parents aren't in the picture, and so you're just struggling to get by, you do what you have to do, and that's how you get through. And so I was just thinking about them and people I've met in my life and how realistic this is. And the ending made me really mad, but at the same time I felt like it was really realistic. But I also really appreciated that at the end she still left us with a little bit of breath and a little bit of hope. It wasn't all just completely dark, and I just thought it was the perfect balance of plot and character work and running through the emotional gamut. I just can't say enough good things about it. I finished this yesterday, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it. And there are still scenes that I think about that I could probably cry if I really think about it, because they were just so heart-wrenching. But you know they happen in real life, which makes it just even more impactful. So if you have not read this book, please go read this book. It's phenomenal, and I am very excited to read more of her work, because I think she's such a gifted writer. And I will also link an interview she did with Trevor Noah on The Daily Show. I really enjoyed hearing her writing process and how she came to write this book, and I just think it's a really fantastic interview. So please go check that out as well. And please let me know if you're going to read this book, or if you have read this book, what did you think about it? If you'd like to leave an emoji, drop an orange or purple heart down below. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.